Good morning, everybody. I hope today is finding you well. I'm just waiting for my coffee to finish pouring, but I wanted to share with you, while you hear it churning in the background, I wanted to share with you just some thoughts on my Bible study this morning. I read Genesis 16 to 18 in John chapter 5. And there's some things that I've noticed. We can run ahead of God's plans, as Sarah did. God promised Abraham an heir from his own body. And Sarah's like, well, I'm just too old. You can, use my servant as a concubine. And that wasn't the son that God promised Abraham. Or you could laugh at God, like both Abraham and Sarah did. Because Abraham was 100 and Sarah was really like 96 or in her 90s. And you laugh at God. But no matter how you look at God, his promises are going to come true. And so God made a covenant with Abraham. And what's more is God confirmed it. God did what he said he was going to do. And even then, Abraham waited for that promise. And in chapter 18, Abraham stood before God after God promised him that son from Sarah, after God said, in a year's time, you're going to have a son when I return. And God stood on a mountain showing Abraham that he was going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, and Abraham interceded on behalf of them, even though they were wicked. Abraham stood before God and interceded on behalf of his enemies. Then I read John chapter 5, and Jesus was on trial for performing a miracle on the Sabbath. And the man who he had healed, the lame man at the pool of Bethesda, sold him out. And the people wanted to kill him, not because of the miraculous signs he was doing, but because he was doing them on the Sabbath. It went from a point where Abraham believed God and it was credited to him as righteousness to, a few thousand years later, when his people, his offspring, his progeny, they didn't even really believe God. They believed in their following of the law that Abraham's ancestor Moses wrote down. And Jesus even stood up to his critics. Nowadays in Christianity, we're weak. We don't stand for righteousness. We want to be liked by everybody. We want everyone to accept us and approve of us. And we, like Abraham, run ahead of God. We do things that we think are helping him out. Or, we forget the covenants we make with him. And we don't intercede as we should on behalf of the world. If you look at that, that's the point. That cross behind me is the point. Jesus came to intercede on behalf of the world to his Father. He offered his own life as a sacrifice to fulfill every covenant he made with Abraham, with Moses, with David, and even the covenant of Noah. But he did not back down. He did not bow out. He stood up against his critics. He was firm in the word. And what's more is he called them out. He said, Moses, you claim to follow, but he looked forward to my day. And if you followed him and if you actually understood him, you would have known who I was. Nowadays, Christians are weak-minded. We want to bow and capitulate to the world. No, we're not made to be worldly. We're not made to blend in with the world. We are called to stand out from it. So I want to encourage you today. Stand boldly in your faith. Stand by the word of God. Walk in the Spirit. And let's go out and intercede as Christ did, as Abraham did, on behalf of a dark world that is bent on destruction. Let's go share our faith with everyone. Let's share that gospel, that good news that we cannot be good enough on our own, but that through the cross, Jesus Christ paid our debt, and we are righteous, not because of our works, but because of what he has done. God bless you. Praying for you. We'll see you soon.